Hi everybody, welcome to this masterclass. So today we're going to discuss on how to succeed in your first 100 days. Whether you're joining a new company or you've been promoted to a new role, it's very important to prepare your first 100 days. It's going to be very important for you to succeed in your new role. So let's start. I'm Geraldine Gauthier. I'm an executive coach and I'm running a coaching school, Go Master Coach. So, do you know that 46% of us fail in new roles? That's a huge number. So that's the reason why I've decided to create this masterclass, because there's so many people struggling when they are promoted or when they join a new company. And do you know how many new managers fail in their new role? It's even more. 60% of new managers fail. That's a huge number. So let me share with you some tips to avoid that. So today we're going to focus on what you can control when you join a new company or when you have a new role. There's many things that we cannot control. We cannot control the organization culture. We cannot control our colleagues. We cannot, there's many things that we cannot control at the beginning. So what can we control? Let me ask you. This is a remote control for yourself. So what can you control? What can you anticipate? What can you prepare? Let's look at that. It's time to be proactive. Many of my clients come and say, you know, I've taken this opportunity and most of my career I've been just reactive, taking opportunities whenever they came. But now I want more. I want to be proactive. I want to own my career. So it's time for you as well to own your career and to be proactive. So if you want to get the most out of this workshop, I strongly encourage you to write down whatever comes to your mind when you listen to me, and also do all the activities. So take a piece of paper, take a pen, and get ready to actively participate. So I'm going to share 8 tips to prepare your 100 days. The first one relates to your visions. We're going to cover key stakeholders, how to manage your people, how to communicate about yourself, what is your personal brand. We're going to discuss what to do the first days, to write a fresh eye report, define your SMART goals, create a momentum, and make sure you are the right people to support you. So now you have not started. What can you do? So the first things you can do is to clarify your vision. Clarify your vision for this role. What is it? How do you see this role? How do you see yourself in the next months, years? And most importantly, I don't want you to only define an objective. I want you to see the outcome, visualize it. So what is it for you? Write it down. So as a coach and running a coaching school, my objective for this year is to create a big community and make sure I train 100 coaches to become better coach and have even more impact on others. So now try to create a movie of your life. What have you visualized? Try to see yourself, your success in 3 months, 4 months, at the end of this year. What is it? What are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you behaving? Who's around you? Try to clearly visualize the surroundings, the people, and the impact on others. It is very important because the conscious mind is the one who will set the goal, right? This is what we are doing right now. We are setting our goals. But this is the unconscious mind who's the goal getter. So it's very important that we create internal representation of our success for our unconscious mind. We need to send messages to our unconscious minds, images, so that our unconscious mind help us achieve our goals. Now that you have your vision, a clear vision for yourself for this specific role, ask yourself why. Why would you like to reach this goal? Why do you have this vision for yourself? So, for myself, having a coaching school is very important because I strongly believe in the power of coaching. And I strongly believe that we could make the workplace a better place with coaching. So that's my first why. And if I manage to reach that, I will be much more fulfilled and happier, and I will be able to live the life I really want and to be a better role model for people I work with, for my family, my little kids. What is your why? And ask yourself 3 times why? Why do you want this goal? And what does it give you? We are all like these little kids just wanting to climb those stairs. And depending on what the kids, what are at the top of those stairs, maybe it's his mommy, maybe it's a new toy, maybe some candies. Depending on the outcome, he will climb those stairs with much more motivation, more or less motivation. What about you? What is for you at the top of those stairs? So now that you have a clear vision for yourself, you have visualized it, you know exactly why you want to reach this goal. Let's start this new role. So, what are you going to do during the first month? So, during the first month, you need to observe, you need to connect, and you need to diagnose. And the first thing is to map your key stakeholders. Who are they? Your internal stakeholders, your external stakeholders. Who are they? And who are your champions, ambassadors? Do you know who sets the tone in the office? What are the circles of influences? And please look beyond the org chart. It's not only the managers. Maybe it's a personal assistant. She's aware of many things. Maybe the IT guy who knows everybody in the company. Who are your key stakeholders? Who are the influencers? Can you take a moment and write 10 names for yourself? It's the first step to boost your ecosystem. Now that you have your 10 names, I want you to map them on this matrix. So, who have the most power, influence, and who are really interested in your role, in your job? So, depending on where you put them, you will have to manage them closely, to keep them informed, to meet their needs, or just to keep them into account. Now, you know who your stakeholders are. It's time to meet them. And it's probably the most important tip I'm going to share with you today. You need to stop talking and start listening. Yes, that's common sense, but believe me, no one is doing that. We are only 10% of good listeners. And I used to think I was a good listener until I discovered what it really meant. So try to start thinking not only with your ears, but also with your eyes, with your heart. Listen and practice reflective listening, meaning you listen and then you summarize what you have heard. And people will really appreciate because they will felt heard. Okay, and it's very important, especially through video conferences. Okay, so listen, try to understand your stakeholders deeply. Now, what about your people? So you might have a team or colleagues you work with on a daily basis, or maybe your peers. So who are they, first of all? Once you know who they are, try to ask yourself, okay, what are their key strengths? What are they really, really good at? And second, ask them, what are their drivers? What motivates them to do what they're doing? If you manage to know what your people's strengths are and what their drivers are, you can do whatever you want with them. You can work in a very collaborative, efficient manner. So now, list 3 people in your team and try to list their strengths and their drivers. I used to have someone in my team. She was extremely detail oriented and she was really good with data. She has a great analytical mindset set. And her driver, she really wanted to be promoted. Promotion was very, very important for her. So by understanding that, I motivated her and made sure that she could become promoted at the head of financial control. Another guy in my team was really had extremely good communication skills, and he was a great entertainer and amazing way to connect with people. And his driver, he really wanted to be visible and to be seen, and he really wanted to work with the front office part of the company. So I knew his strengths, I knew his driver. So I managed to I asked him to work on the communication with the front office people. And I told him, if you're doing good, they might want to work with you in 2-3 years. And guess what? This is what happened. So if you know your people's strengths and drivers, you can motivate them to work very, very well with you. Now, let's look at your brand. What is your pitch? When you join a new company, people don't know you. So you need to communicate on who you are and why you're here. And think about your personal brand. What is it? The best definition of personal brand is the one from Jeff Bezos, I believe. It is your brand, is what other people say when you are not in the room. So now let me ask you, what do you think people would say if you were not in this room? You can write down 3 attributes. For me, I would hope that people would say that I'm caring, I have lots of energy, and I'm driven. What about you? Now that you're clear on your key attributes, make sure that when you communicate about who you are and what you've done, you start with your why. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. So really think about your why and communicate on your why. I do coaching because I strongly believe that it can have a huge impact on people's life, and it can transform people's life. It transformed my own life. What about you? What is your why? Now, when you communicate about yourself, it's very important that you convey passion and respect, because people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This is a beautiful quote from Maya Angelou. So make sure that you convey passion and respect. And if you want to convey passion and respect, you need to really figure out what makes you alive, right? So that you can communicate on that. It has to be authentic, obviously. Now, the third advice is to focus on outcomes and new possibilities. When you communicate about who you are, what you do, don't communicate on the process and how you do it. Communicate on the outcomes and new possibilities. Okay? So as a coach, I deliver results. I transform people's life. I help people grow and feel better at work. I won't communicate on how first. I won't tell them we will go through a process, we will do many assessments, we'll have coaching conversations. This is not the first thing I will communicate. I will communicate on the outcomes and possibilities. All right, so now if you've communicated to your key stakeholders, your people, you have a clear pitch, it's time to prepare a fresh eyes report. And this is an invisible superpower, because when you join a company, you have fresh eyes. So it's time to note what surprised you in the organization, what is efficient, what is not, what can you change, what should stay the same. You will bring lots of value to your company and to your manager. And do that in the very first months, because after 3-4 months, you won't see things the same. When I arrived in Singapore, it's like when you visit a new country. So when I arrived in Singapore, I saw all the amazing nature, the plants, the trees everywhere in the city. I don't see that anymore. So write down all the things that really surprise you on a fresh-eyed report. And you can also do a SWOT for your role. What are your strengths for this role? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities for your scope and the threats? So time to reflect. You can pause and write down whatever comes to your mind now. Okay, now it's month number 2. You need now to design and communicate on what you have learned. So design and define your goals. You can pick 3 SMART goals. Obviously, they need to be aligned with your vision. You can adjust your vision if you think it's not exactly the same as the first day. And make sure that you clarify your priorities. You can't do everything, so pick just 3 top priorities. Make sure that your goals are SMART. Make sure they are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bounded. You can use this table, list your 3 goals, just try to identify some KPIs, and then you can define some key tasks and action steps. Okay? And try to see what resources you will need for each of your goals in terms of resources, support, habits, anything that you will need. Okay, and now ask yourself, what could prevent you from reaching those goals? What are the external obstacles and the inner obstacles? And what are you telling yourself? Oh, I'm not good enough. People will realize that I can't do that. Or make sure that you're very clear and you manage your inner voice, your inner critic. It's the worst. It's your worst enemy. And ask yourself, are you motivated and how motivated are you? And make sure you are super motivated for your goal. And if it's below 8 on a scale from 1 to 10, you need to revisit your goals and reassess your priorities. And now, let me ask you, what is the best advice you could give yourself to be sure you achieve your goals? So step back, close your eyes, and try to think of just one single advice. Okay, so you have your vision, you know people, your stakeholders, you have a fresh eye report, you have some clear goals. Now it's time to build your narrative. It's just one A4 document. You don't need to write more. So build your narrative and communicate to your key stakeholders and to your people first, obviously. And circle back. You met those guys in the first month. Now it's time to go back and share about what you want to achieve. Okay, you need their support, you need their buy-in. And the only way to get that is to share. Month 3, it's time to implement, to execute your plan. So you need to secure quick wins. You can't do everything yet. So secure quick wins to create a momentum for yourself, for your team, and for your stakeholders. So try to identify 3 quick wins that you can realize in month 3. Now, you can't do everything by yourself. So make sure that you have some support. And when I mean support, it can be a mentor within the company, or someone you worked with in the past, or someone you admire. It can be a coach, it can be a buddy, or a friend to hold you accountable. You need to have a sounding board, someone you really trust, and you can share your stress, anxieties, and when you doubts about your plan, anything. Make sure you have support. And last but not least, I would strongly recommend you to manage your stress. And one great way to do that is to be mindful. And one great way to be mindful is this technique, this mindfulness technique. Whenever you feel negative emotions, stress, anxiety, and it happens very often when you're in a new role, in a new position, you can use this technique called RAIN. Or you need to recognize this negative emotion and name it, label it. Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it frustration? What is it? A is for allow, accept, acknowledge. Don't try to fight. You won't win. Just let this negative feeling be and live and be here. It's gonna go anyway. I is investigate. You need to investigate two things. The first one is the physical sensations related to this strong negative emotion. Where do you feel them? Here, in your shoulders, in your neck? Where are they? And investigate the triggers as well for what triggered these strong negative emotions. Is it a call from your boss? Is it a complaint from your new clients? What happened? It will help you overcome the next negative, difficult situation you will face. And N, which is the most important step, you are not your emotion. This is where you are not your emotion. You can feel anger. You are not angry person. You feel anger. It's here, it's gonna go. It's not you. You are not fused with your emotion. Okay? So, well done, everybody. I hope those 8 tips were useful. Please make sure you apply them during the first month, second and third months to succeed in your first 100 days. And now let me ask you, what is the very first step you're going to take after this masterclass? Thank you for being so engaged. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Geraldine Gauthier, and have a good one. Bye.